Darkest Hours Bridgehead is one of the more successful levels in the mod. Starting out as an idea for a play all day level, it quickly left that idea behind and became my personal sandbox for testing gameplay ideas and concepts. Now it sits as a solid blueprint for how to create quality Darkest Hour gameplay. A major focus in its design was to have powerful defensive positions and to avoid balancing the level in favor of the attacker by degrading the usefulness of those defenses. This was a good challenge for me because I couldn't just rely on adjusting the spawn locations for both teams. This design focus led to a new game feature which we named Mobile Deploy Vehicles, which was essentially a player-driven spawning system whereby players could drive a half-track around and teammates could spawn on it. Mobile deploy vehicles were a good stepping stone idea, and players seemed to be on board. But they weren't without their problems. Eventually, they would be replaced with the squad rally point and construction systems. Being a larger map, often played with a full server, and a demand to maximize the view distance in Darkest Hour levels, Bridgehead was essentially the most demanding level, not only for the server performance, but clients as well. To improve Bridgehead and its gameplay, I had to optimize its network and resource usage. I learned about memory usage, how the engine loads in all the textures it uses. I reduced memory usage by reducing the number of textures it used, decreasing the game's textures resolutions where it wouldn't hurt quality, and made sure no duplicate assets were referenced. I learned about network culling, how BSP can be used to chop up the net, reducing network relevancy between players and thus reducing packet size. This led to the hard forest walls, as I could hide BSP in them. Players surprisingly did not complain about them. I put in server self-optimization into the game, which would detect if the server was running at a poor tick rate. If it was, it would raise the respawn times of players, as I found there was a direct correlation between the number of players alive and the server's performance. This became obsolete after we purchased a high-end server, ideal for single-threaded applications. I learned about CPU affinity and how the server would run worse using the default Windows multi-threaded virtualization technology. And by forcing the server to run on a single core, we got significantly better server performance. Now, Bridgehead was playing great. The server was running at a max tick rate, players were no longer crashing from the high resource usage, and the network was more detailed because of the network traffic reduction from the BSP net culling. Over the years, I found new ways to balance the level. Instead of moving objectives around to make them easier or harder, I created a system which would purposely make the teams uneven, giving the attackers a numbers advantage. Of course, this was supplemental to the fact we had already did such a thing for the armor and vehicles. While it would confuse some new players, it became an accepted method of balance among veteran players. I think the contributing factors in Bridgehead's gameplay success is the level scale and the engagement ranges, just at a perfect size for 70 players or so. Other factors is its sense of progression and its challenges for the attackers. And finally, its ratio of combined arms, with not too many tanks, but enough to make for an epic fight.